YouTubers? Another day, another exhausting day, another dialer in the hole as well. Truck, took it out for a jaunt over the weekend, and the first drive out to the dump ran like a bag of shit. Brought it back, did some more work on it, cranked down the intake, cleaned out the throttle body, took it over to my parents' place later on, ran better. So right now the fuel trims are sitting just under 3, -3. So I'm going to call that a win. From what I was looking on the internet, anything plus or minus 10 is good. So $600 and then cure the problem. But anyway, that's not what we're here for today. We are some interior work. So I've taken my screen down from the top. I'm still trying to figure out whether I want to leave it there or find another spot for it. I've taken my deck out, my amateur radio out, and finding some new places to put them. I have two options. I have the short little console here. So we've got this little guy, which will sit, sit like yonder up on top. Sit like so. And the bigger one is basically the same thing, but it goes past the dome light. It's a little hard to see with my black interior. And then I've had, I also pulled the shifter handle, because this was an automatic when I first got the truck, so it still got the pull down shifter. Well, that was interfering with the key, and if I didn't shut the key off correctly and have it in the right position, the battery would stay on, and the light and the prindle would stay on, and then kill the battery. So now that's gone, so the ignition works a little bit better, and I'll have to buy a new one. So now what we're doing is a little bit of interior, but then I was thinking, well, I'm doing all this, I got to do a little bit of wire manipulation too. Like from here, all my stuff for the camera goes across the back and then down that pillar. So it's got still enough cable to go from here down this pillar across the dash to where it is right now. And that's just kind of a wait and see type thing to see if I really want it there. I'll put it back up on top once I get that center console put in, or the upper console, and get a piece made for this that will fit in that through the 3D printer. But again, that's later down the road. So when I was thinking of doing all this, then it dawns on me, well, I still got to move the batteries. So that's where we are at today. We are moving the batteries from, well, I've got two cases like this. One that's sitting right here, and that one. So there's enough room to put two of these batteries on that side and two more here. That's the way I had designed it. But I unforeseen a small issue. I did mention that I had battery problems. The battery would die due to the ignition. So I think, because it hasn't done it since then, and it's started every time I've left it for a week. But it was before it was dead overnight or dead every second day. It was kind of sporadic, but it would be almost non-starting the next day. So I found out the hard way when I piled this full of junk to take it down to the dump one day. The battery went dead because I only had two on this side. And lo and behold, I couldn't get in there to boost it. I had to go through the back seat. I had to lift up the back seat, and all my connections are there. Lifted up the back seat, put the booster cables there, and I could start the truck. So I'm just like, well, shit, I didn't think about that. And I didn't put a provision in to jam a booster into it to jumpstart it. And then at the same time, these batteries are a little bit big, so the terminals get really close to that upper lip there. And I'm always worried about knocking that when I'm pushing it in, even though I've got the kill switch. And even that's a real pain in the ass to get to. So I didn't quite build this the way it had been in my mind, where it would be just an easy slip in and out. That piece there is actually sitting on a ledge. and I made it so it would fit into basically that spot in the prototype of this being in wood. It seemed to work good in my eye, but on that one I had another lip that came over the top, and it would lift up and the door would flop down, the battery would come out to the top. And when I put this into thought, I exnated that thinking, well, I don't really need that, and then yeah, we started having problems. So later on down the road, we're going to be modifying this one too, so I can put the winch in. So for what we're doing today, well, actually I just started doing yesterday, is I've put this 30 by 18 inch hole into the side of my truck. That's the gas filler, and this is 2 grounds and 2 positives for the batteries that are sitting inside. That was a pilot hole to see if I actually had enough space before I cut the big hole. So I went through where the gas filler is, put a 2-inch hole into it, put my measuring tape in. I'm within an inch of what I originally thought, so not doing too bad there. So the cabinet that's going into it is one I've acquired from work, and I've already had to cut it down 4 inches to what I needed. So this is 18 inches deep and 18 inches wide. So from here to here, that's 18. And then from here to the backside's right there, is 18 inches, and it's 30 from there to there. So the door flips open the other direction. I've taken all the handles already. I'll be adding a handle like this later on. Basically all this is basically cost me for free. It's just leftover stuff they have. So I need 14 to 15 inches of space to dig into this thing. So tonight, since I don't have a time lapse, so you're not going to be able to see it, I'll have to do the whole jump ahead thing. So I'm going to, where that white line is next portion of this. I got to cut the cables out. I've already disconnected them. I'm going to pull them out, and then I'm going to go at it with the plasma cutter, old blue here, and go, and then away we go. So that's where we're sitting at right now. It is, oh freaking Christ, it's hot right now. It's just muggy. It's fixing to rain tonight, and it's starting to get a little on the sticky side. And being a ginger that I am, I love the heat, but the heat doesn't react well with me. I love being warm, but unfortunately there's only so much this body can take before what do I put it? Before shit goes into critical meltdown. Let's put it that way. And ceases to function. So the old chrome dome usually gets a wet towelette during the summertime to keep the old brain box cooler than what it should be. But yeah, well, that's what we're doing tonight. So yeah, I'm just going to get at it and do it. And then I forgot, I've still got to get a new card for the time lapse. So unfortunately, that's sitting on the bench. Yeah, and it's charging. Oh, I'm not sure. Showing you the update of that one. So now I got myself a new little itty bitty cable, and then the cable, the way it works is I can just flip it from here back into the camera and then plug the USB into it. And then when I go to charge it, I take the camera side, put it inside, and then jam it into my little charger. So it's basically perfect. I have another bigger bugger at home in the house that I used for charging the phone that I'm on. So it's got does not have solar, but it has wireless charging, 3 outputs, and it's a 25,000 milliamp hour I bought from Canadian Tire. Works wonders. It charges the phone up in a blistering hurry. So yeah, that's what I use, and it uses Type C and the Micro B. So that's a little bit more overkill than that camera needs. That battery pack will outlast that camera, I'm sure. So yeah, we'll get at this, and then we'll bring you along again afterwards. Again. Late. So it is now 7:30. I think I started at about 5:30 when I got home. But yeah, made some progress. Bigger hole. Didn't quite fit. Plasma cutter. Massaged the hole a little open a little bit more. So now we now have a cabinet. So it's basically what it's going to look like. It's sticking out a little further than I want at the moment. On camera it doesn't do any justice, but that will slide in a little bit further. So I've run into a small snag where that white line is there. My suspension's in the way, so in order to get it back, the extra little gap that I've got there, I think it's just about 2 inches, I can take out to that line and still have enough room to slide the battery in on the bottom. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to keep the extra space so I can run the wires up and down if I need to for everything else. So what we're going to do is we're going to modify the box to here to get around this. My original idea, stupid, but stop myself from being really stupid, is to notch out the suspension part, which would sit right on top of the shackle basically, and then support it, which would have been a good idea. But I'm thinking, no, I tow a fairly heavy camper with this, and the last thing I need to do is have that buckle and then shoot up through, and yeah, just cause a whole whack of problem. But what I was going to do is flatten that down. It would have only been from basically the curve down about 2 inches at the widest point, or 1.5 inches at its widest point, and I was going to take a plate and go across and then just weld the hoover back in and then kind of ducktail it out so that it would still support all that. But that's just, no, we're not going to do that. As fun as that sounds, I'm just going to notch out the box, leave the suspension as is. It's probably for the best, and then I'll shove the whole thing back. So that will be a tomorrow job. Today is Wednesday, so Thursday night we will take and notch that out, and then we'll do the same thing to the back pan, which like I said, I've taken already damn near about 4 inches out of this thing. So I've made it such a way that it just kind of couples in for the time being, so I can just slide it in and out. So this is how I've been able to do it. So yeah, I'll just notch that out, slide it back a little further, but I'm basically there. So the back wall there, as you see, will flip up, and I'll weld that back in place and you'll never see it. However, if I switch the camera around, I have the back of the box here, and I still have my original spot, which is 16 inches wide for another battery. So I can have two here, a shelf, and whatever, and then the switches that turn them off and on, and whatnot here, and I could have another one sitting over there. So that's great. Now I gotta find out why my neighbors are yelling at each other. So that's the commotion you're hearing in the background. So I'm going to call it a day. I am covered in head to toe in grinder dust, and it is raining. And before somebody says something nasty on camera that I can't take it back off, I'm going to call it a day. So see you around.